Thank you for joining Wars of the Rosies, and this video is going to be The Guardian Angel by Manly P. Hall, an article from Horizon, Journal of the Philosophical Research Society, Volume 11, Number 1, Summer 1951. The Guardian Angel. A recent hopefully delightful fantasy has come to the motion picture screen under the title For Heaven's Sake. It presents the distinguished actor Mr. Clifton Webb in the role of a guardian angel. Those familiar with Mr. Webb's personality will appreciate the whimsy of this situation. After seeing the film, it occurred to me that the subject of the guardian angel is not so well known as the charming belief justifies. Nearly all the religious and philosophical systems of antiquity taught that the human being was overshadowed from birth by an invisible entity who was peculiarly responsible for the safety of his mortal charge. Iamblichus, discussing the mysteries of the Chaldeans, referred to the natal demon as an invisible protector assigned by providence and commissioned to overshadow and even instruct the human being. Mention was made to the famous demon of Socrates, which this great philosopher was firmly convinced accompanied him on all occasions, but did not reveal itself after the great teacher was condemned to death. Socrates regarded his demon as an oracle, and he consulted it on various occasions. There are several stories recorded in the works of Plato about this invisible guardian of Socrates. The Neoplatonists taught that certain wise men who were destined to be instructors over others enjoyed the association of demons belonging to the order of gods, but lesser mortals had protectors from a more humble order of spirits. Plotinos is said to have invoked his demon in the presence of an Egyptian magician. The being appeared as a most wonderful and radiant figure, whose very presence strengthened the resolution of the soul. The Latins were convinced that regions and cities, communities, and even buildings have their invisible guardians. In some cases, these spirits assume leadership in mortal affairs, and their assistance often changed the course of events. The belief in the guardian angel is part of the religious folklore of many European Christian communities. This belief has never been defined by the Church, and therefore is not an article of faith among Catholics, but it is certainly accepted as true by many members of the Church. The Church itself, speaking upon the authority of St. Jerome, says that the belief in the guardian angel is part of the mind of the Church. This means that it is considered as a right and proper belief that has not been officially incorporated into the dogma. It is sanctioned but not required. The Church derives its authority for the sanctioning of this doctrine from the words of both Testaments. It says in Psalms 90:11, "For he hath given his angels charge over thee, to keep thee in all thy ways." In the New Testament, Matthew 18:10, Christ says, "See that you despise not one of these little ones, for I say unto you, that their angels in heaven always see the face of my Father, who is in heaven." It was the opinion of the Church Fathers, including Saint Basil and Saint Chrysostom, that guardian angels could influence their human charges by acting upon the senses and the imagination, or even by influencing the intellect. They cannot, however, act upon the human will, for to do so would interfere with the operations of consciousness and thus nullify the freedom of personal decision. Some theologians held that the guardian angel is not separated by death, but remains in heaven with the faithful. It cannot perform any action which assists salvation, but does variously inspire the individual to attain his own spiritual security. An appropriate feast for the guardian angel was celebrated locally in many communities before it was finally included in the Roman calendar. From this, it may be inferred that the belief gained strength as folklore and was finally recognized as desirable and suitable to Christian belief. The well-known psychological phenomenon of small children seeming to play with invisible beings probably strengthened the notion of the presence of unseen creatures. The idea was developed by the writers of fairy tales and was popular also among the Persians and the Arabs. The origin of the guardian angel concept is evidently pagan, but like many other forms of legendary and mythology, it survived even after the face in which it was prominent had been discarded. The fairy godmother is a form of the guardian angel. The powers of this invisible spirit was enlarged by popular imagination far beyond the limits imposed by the theologians. The European method of rearing children in a strict and often frustrated atmosphere brought with it early neurotic symptoms. The child imagination escaped from the severity of family life through daydreaming. Countless millions of foreign children have daydreamed about their guardian angel, and the belief intensified by longings and cravings for affection caused the concept to assume extraordinary verisimilitude. These little folks actually heard and sometimes even saw this protecting and understanding associate. Memories of the guardian angel survived throughout life and became an important escape mechanism. In America, the child is much more extroverted and has a larger sphere of physical interest and activities. As a result, the pressing need for an invisible comforter and companion is reduced. Whenever pressures continue, however, there are vestiges of this concept. The intellectual interval between the child and the adult makes it difficult for the little one to find sympathetic understanding. If this becomes too serious a situation, the child constructs a magic world of its own and populates it with compassionate beings. If the doctrine of the guardian angel is available, this supplies a suitable form for the imaginative instinct. This, however, may be too superficial an approach to a doctrine which has been held as true and factual by many of the noblest minds that have come to this world. An idea so widely disseminated and so intensely cultivated gives rise to thoughtfulness. The guardian angel can be an aspect of the overself. Certainly there is within and behind man qualities more mature and even more intelligent than his physical personality. The Chinese have a doctrine of the transcendental being, the godlike self, which can be approached as a disciple would approach his master. The wisdom, love, and understanding of the entity, or ego, for the body which it has fashioned, is quite understandable. Mystically speaking, the guardian angel may be a symbolical representation of the higher attributes of the soul. This would seem to justify the concept of the guardian angel without burdening it with local superstitions. The being who incarnates is partly accessible to the incarnate part itself. Perhaps you have a guardian angel. It might be better to believe this than to seek comfort in the thought that we are orphans of space, predestined and foreordained to be victims of some vengeful divinity. When in doubt, cling to the beautiful, and you will enrich your own lives and become real guardian angels in the lives of others. Thank you for watching, and please don't forget to share, like, subscribe, and comment. And if you can, please consider donating to Wars of the Rosies. Links to PayPal and Patreon are in the description. Thank you so very much.